everyone, and welcome to this session about University College Roosevelt. My name is Denise. I work at University College Roosevelt in the Netherlands as the coordinator for student recruitment and admissions. So I work with all of our incoming students, whether they're Dutch students or international students, from the very first moment they get in touch with UCR all the way until they actually come and start at the university. And today it's my honor to introduce you to the university, what we have to offer, what student life is like, and of course, all those practical tidbits about applications and finance and whatnot. So first, a very quick overview. Who are we and what do we do? We are, in a nutshell, a liberal arts and science university that's quite small and that's set in the southwest of the Netherlands. So the idea of the university is that you compose your own curriculum by combining different disciplines from our 4 different academic departments: arts and humanities, engineering, science, and social science. I'll introduce that to you in a second. We're part of Utrecht University, which is a top 100 university. It's one of the biggest and older universities in the country. But while Utrecht University is based in the center of the country, we are based in a town called Middelburg. And Middelburg is a beautiful historic town. Looks like you would imagine the Netherlands, with cobblestones and old alleyways. It's in the southwest, as you can see on the map. So it's close to the beach and it's close to the Belgian border. Now, the university is a small one, as I said as well. We have some 500 students and about 80 or so faculty and staff. And that community is also about 60% international. So it's this highly, highly international community. And all students live in guaranteed housing in the center of Middelburg. So that's in a nutshell what we do. But let's have a closer look at that academic curriculum. As I said, we have 4 different departments. We have an arts and humanities department, and within arts and humanities, you'll find a different variety of humanities courses. So more history-based courses like history, but also art history, antiquity and archaeology. You'll find a range of courses around languages, linguistics, literature, etc. And then also philosophy, religious studies, rhetoric, and not unimportantly, we have a music program within our arts and humanities. So for students who want to look at music both academically and in practice, that's something that we offer within our arts and humanities department. We then have an engineering department, and our engineering department focuses on high-tech engineering. So you'll find things like electronics, robotics, mechanical engineering, biochemical engineering, really sort of more the high-tech approach. And what's important about the engineering track within UCR is that it focuses on, in the projects and the things you'll work on the issues that are relevant to the area that we are in. We're in a province called Zeeland because there's a lot of sea water around. So the questions and the topics that you'll investigate within our engineering department are very much based on water management, the energy transition, bio-based foods, bio-based fuels, coast erosion. These kinds of topics are really the core of our engineering department. We also have a science department, and our science department has both biology-based sciences, things like biomedical science, life science, environmental science, and to some extent also earth science, as well as the other natural sciences. So anything from physics to mathematics and chemistry, that's all within our science department. And we have a special program that's the pre-medical program, so for students who are thinking about medicine. And finally, we have a social science department. And in our social science department is where you'll find courses in anthropology, sociology, psychology, politics, law, economics. All these different courses are represented within the college. So there are some 40 different academic disciplines across all the different departments. And all of these disciplines are made up from, in total, some 200 different modules that you can choose from as a student. And how that works is when you come into the college, you don't have to know what you want to study at all. In the first year, you take 2 mandatory academic skill courses just to start building your academic skills. But you have 6 more courses that you are free to, but actually encouraged to, spread across the different departments. So if you're a student who's not quite sure what they want to do or not quite sure where they want to put the focus in their curriculum, you can actually explore that in the first year and try different courses. And only at the end of that first year do you pick one of the 4 departments as your major. That means that your major is still not going to be one academic discipline. Rather, it would be a combination of different disciplines within one department. And your minor could be something outside of that major. So it's a highly, highly flexible curriculum. Why would you do something like that? Well, first of all, of course, because it allows you to actually try what you want to do at a university level. Some of these courses you've probably never heard of or never thought that you might like. So that's one thing. But the other thing is also that the world out there is not divided into academic disciplines. You're going to be dealing with questions or topics or research projects that are divided in all these different, that can be looked at from all these different disciplines. So just to give you a few examples, we have students who combine robotics with psychology and neuroscience because they're interested in artificial intelligence, but that has all these different components, right? We have students who do economics in combination with politics because they're very interested in sort of political economy, who then add in courses either in mathematics to get stronger in their financial abilities, or in history because they're looking at the historical development of international relations and political economy overall. Students in law who take in courses in psychology to understand more of human behavior and how they get to certain behaviors that might not be so great in line with law. And these students can then add in something like rhetoric because they need to understand how to present themselves well. So that's just to give you a bit of an idea why such a liberal arts approach might actually work for you in finding your specific niche in what it is you want to study. Now, a few words about the way we do education. We're, as I said, a small university, 500, 600 students. We teach exclusively in small scale classes. So there's never going to be more than 25 students in a class because it's so much about engaged and interactive learning, learning from your peers, learning by discussing, learning by working on a group project together. That is something we want to facilitate in small scale classes. The education is also research-based. So you'll be doing quite a lot of smaller and larger research projects. So it starts small. On your very first day in university, you might be asked to reflect on a particular article and bring in your own example, your own case study. It might be a small term paper. And by the end of your degree, you'll be doing something called a senior project, which really brings together all the different disciplines that you have studied at UCR. So that's for academics. That's the first bit, of course. Now, what is it like? What is campus life like? What's the student body like? That's also quite important, of course, and I understand that. So we are one of the few programs in the Netherlands that is completely residential. So for the full duration of the program, which is 3 years, we offer guaranteed and affordable housing. That is not that American style residential campus. It looks different from what you might be used to from the movies, for instance. That beautiful, beautiful building you saw in the beginning of the presentation, that's actually our university. The former town hall, and as many European towns, the town was built around the town hall. So that is right in the center. If you step out of the door on Thursday, you'll step onto the fresh market. And that's also where the shops, the restaurants, everything's just around the corner from the university. We have 4 different campus locations spread throughout town, all within walking distance, where students live. Those are student campus locations. And within these campus locations, you'll find 2 different types of housing. You'll find what's called the traditional Dutch student house in one of the 4 locations. This is what you see in the picture as well, but this is where you have your own private room with a little sink, but you share a kitchen and bathroom with other students. And we have houses for 10 and houses for 16 students. And of course, there's going to be more bathrooms in the 16 people house. Now, the other 3 locations have studio apartments. So that means that you have a single unit with your own small kitchenette and your own small bathroom all to yourself. But you're living in a building with only students. There's going to be common areas. One of the locations actually has a massive kitchen in the basement where you can cook together as well as in your own room. So those are really the options, and that's what it looks like. It is campus housing, it's student housing, you're provided with that, but at the same time, you're very much integrated into the local town. So for me, that's always been the best of both worlds, to have the student housing, but also the local connection. Now, student life itself, then, it's very, very much for students by students. As a university, of course, we arrange guest lectures, and of course, there's initiatives that you can get involved in. But most of the student life is organized by students. We're a small university, we're a smaller town. It's not a traditional university town, but we tend to attract students that really want to make the most of their time at university. You're going to be in charge of your own academic curriculum. You're also going to be in charge of your own social life. So that needs to appeal to you. But if it does, there's so much. So I've put a couple of things on the slide here that I want to highlight about that student life. First of all is the Roosevelt's All Student Association, or RASA. And RASA is basically the umbrella organization for all things social on campus. They have some 40 different societies and teams within them that organize anything from, say, debates, guest lectures, parties, sports, theater, you name it, and it's probably there. That's their main remit. So they make sure that every day of the week there's something to do within their committees and societies. But they also organize a couple of annual events and trips. So as I said, we're close to the beach, so they will host a beach barbecue at the end of the semester. They organize a traditional Christmas market in our street of student houses for the local community as well as our students. They organize a ski trip, a summer trip, lots of different things that you can get engaged in as a student. And of course, ultimately, you could also decide to become a member of that, the board that actually arranges these kinds of things. Another important aspect of student life at UCR, and this is quite special, is Common House Elliott. And it's named a common house because it's the idea of a common room where you as a family come together for a meal, a discussion, some work, a game. That's the idea, and that's also the function that the common house has. It's really that extension where the family, in this case, the community, and that includes students as well as faculty and staff, can come together to have a meeting, have something to eat or drink, all these different things. So this is completely student run. So if you want to get some experience in how to run a business, this is a great opportunity for you as a student. There's also ways to volunteer within that to, have a shift in the mensa or have a shift in the bar or these kinds of things. So it has study spaces, it has meeting rooms, it has a mensa cafeteria kind of thing. And they have a bar in the basement as well. So that's where the parties would be. So that's student life. There's lots to do, but we do ask you to be as engaged in that as you can possibly be without losing sight of sleep and academics as well, of course. Now on to some of the practicalities. What does it cost? Is there scholarships, these kinds of things? So tuition fees for us, as with any university in the Netherlands, they are dependent on your passport. If you have a European passport, that means your fee is subsidized by the Dutch government. So you are actually only paying about 3,600 euros a year. For non-European students, you do not get that subsidy. So we're looking at just over 9,100 euros per year. Now, again, this is a 3-year program, so do take that into account when you do your budgeting. That's what you're paying. What are the other fees that you need to take into consideration? It's, of course, your campus living. So rent on campus, regardless as to whether you live in a house or in a studio apartment, is going to be about 400 euros per month. And your other expenses, food, books, insurance, enjoying some of these extracurricular activities, is going to be an additional 400 euros or so. So that's what you need to keep in mind when you plan financially. European students qualify for a tuition fee loan from the government. So they can actually loan the 3,600 from the government if they so choose. It's a loan, you have to pay it back. The deal is pretty good when it comes to student loans, but if you don't need it, don't take it out. Now, UCR has a couple of need-based partial scholarships available for international students. This is something that students apply for after they've gone through the academic application. And they go up to about 5,000 euros. So they're not going to cover everything. They're going to be your final push if you need it. So that's something to keep in mind. When I say small number, roughly 10 to 15 a year is what we give out, but that can be anywhere from, say, 1,000 to 5,000 euros. That's the cost. The other practical component, of course, is admissions. So we are a research university, and as such, we're looking for research university entry-level requirements. That means we can accept the International Baccalaureate as long as you have 30 points in your classes. We can accept A-levels as long as you have done at least 3 and have obtained a B for all of them, or higher, of course. We can accept a US high school diploma as long as you've also done APs, and for those you'd have to get a 3 or higher. We also accept the CBSE and the ICSE. For each of them, you'd have to have done 5 academic courses with 75% or higher. And as for the other sort of Indian state boards or other national diplomas, that tends to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. So there's a long list on the website, but you can always email if you have a specific question about your specific credential. But that's the first thing we look at. Then we are a selective program. We only have 200 spots available every year, and we're also looking for a student who fits this model of education. So we select on that. We're looking for someone who is excited by knowledge, someone who's excited by learning, who wants to be part of that sort of engaged community learning, someone who's motivated, broadly interested. You can be a great student, but if all you want to study is mathematics, then this is obviously not the program for you. And we want a student with an international outlook. Obviously, you're coming to an international place, but you're not going to be in a situation where there's only going to be Dutch students. You're going to be in a situation where there's 60% international students covering some 60 different nationalities. So you need to be, if not already able, willing to navigate such a multicultural space and learn about that. We look for that in an application procedure where we expect to see a transcript, a list of your grades, but we also look for a letter of motivation, letters of recommendation, and we interview our students. As you'll see, we're not looking for standardized tests because that's where your grades list and your transcript comes in. We do not require SAT or ACT at all. If you've done it, if you want to add it to your application, that's fine, but it's nothing that we're necessarily going to hold against you or give you admission for just on that basis. So we're really looking at all these different things. Now, when do you apply and how do you apply? You apply by going through our website and following the procedures outlined there. There's a couple of steps you need to take where you upload all your documents, and then we'll take it from there and be in touch with you. There's no application system in the country that you would find in some other countries. So the thing you need to do is come to our website and follow the steps. And we have 2 intake moments at the college. You can start in our fall, which is in September, or you can start in our spring, which would be in February. If you were to start in our fall, then your application deadline would be April 1st or May 1st of that year. So if you want to start September 2022, it would be April 1st, 2022 if you have a non-European passport, or May 1st, 2022 if you do have a European passport. And the deadline difference is just to do with visa applications, because we actually apply for your visa for you. You can't do that yourself in the Netherlands. So we need the time to process that, and that's why the non-European deadline is earlier. For spring, it's October 1st and November 1st, depending again on your nationality. And that's your passport. So not where you're living, your passport. And that's it. That's really all I had to share. Of course, there's many, many ways to get in touch with us to learn more. I mean, the Instagram account is right on the screen, but there's also things on the website. So there's going to be lots of webinar weeks and online and in-person open days. You can talk to students right on the website, or you can meet with me or one of my colleagues if you have any specific questions about your degree or anything like that. In-person campus visits, not right now, but hopefully as the pandemic progresses, we can host in-person visits again. But definitely have a look at our website because you'll find so much information and ways to engage. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on campus.